Go. Pressing record in 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Onesto. I am the Assistant Director for New Student and Transition Programs here at the University of Richmond. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. I am going to let Diana and Krittika introduce themselves, but we're excited to have you. And let's get started. Diana, Krittika?
Well, good morning or good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. I'm Krittika Onsanit. I'm the Director of International Student and Scholar Services and International Education. And I thank you so much for joining this webinar, and hopefully the information here will be helpful to you as you prepare to come to U of R this fall.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Trinh. I'm the International Student Advisor, also in the Office of International Education. I just want to say welcome, everyone, and I look forward to meeting you all in the fall semester.
Okay, so we will go ahead and get started. We do have a slide presentation here for you, and we will make it available after the presentation. So can we go to the first slide, Diana? Okay, so we just introduced ourselves. We are going to have a new staff member joining us in June. Her name is Eden Kim. She will be our new International Education Fellow for International Student Engagement. So this is a staff member who is specifically tasked with reaching out to international students, especially new international students, and helping them integrate into campus culture and US culture. So, you know, she's not with us yet. So in lieu of that, we provided her a photo. So just to give you an idea of our population, we have students from over 80 countries studying with us for either all 4 years like yourselves, or for 1 or 2 semesters. So those would be our exchange students from our partner institutions. And all of the international students, whether they're here for a full degree or here on exchange, are completely immersed in our campus life. So with the exception of some law and graduate students, everybody lives on campus. And we do have a number of law and graduate students who live on campus too. There's limited housing for them as well. But, you know, you would live on campus with US students. You would probably at some point have a US student who's a roommate or a suite mate. Of course, you would be taking classes with US students and participating in activities outside the classroom, or what we call co-curricular activities with your peers from the US. So we have 11% of our undergraduate students who are non-US citizens. So they're citizens of countries other than the US. But we also have students who are permanent residents, whose families are from other countries. We have students who are dual citizens of the US and another country, and we have students who are American citizens, but are living or have been living abroad. So the 11% does not include those students that I just mentioned. It's really only non-US citizens on our campus. So we do have many more, of course, who have some sort of international experience. Okay, so next slide. All right, so let's talk about coming to the US. This will probably apply to you if you have either never studied in the US before and are not a US citizen. You'll probably need a student visa. Or perhaps you studied in the US in high school and you currently have a student visa, and you will continue in your student visa status when you come to Richmond. So a visa is a travel document that only needs to be valid when you're entering the US from abroad. And so if you have never physically studied in the US before, you will need a US, an F1 visa for the US, unless you have another visa that permits full-time study. And we do have a few of those students in that situation, but not many. If you are an F1 student who attended high school in the US, you can use your F1 visa stamp from your high school, assuming it's still valid, of course, with the I-20 from Richmond to enter the US, assuming that you're going to exit the US in between finishing up high school in the US and starting college. If you are a citizen of Canada or Bermuda, good news for you, you do not need to obtain an F1 visa stamp, but you still need the I-20 from Richmond. And we've provided a link to travel.state.gov, which is part of the US Department of State's website, as the US Department of State's consulates and embassies overseas really determine the visas, and you would have to go through the visa application process through the US Department of State. Okay, next one. So we know some people travel, maybe some of you are citizens of one country, but you actually reside in another country outside the US, or maybe in some cases it's still quite difficult for you to obtain a student visa for various reasons, local conditions or so forth. So it is possible to apply for a student visa outside of your home country if you are physically present in that country. And so again, you know, the US Department of State and the US system of embassies and consulates are the ultimate authorities and experts on who can apply for which visa in which country. And so if you're in that situation or curious about it, we encourage you to go to usembassy.gov. All right. So if you are coming to the US as an F1 student for the very first time, you will be coming in what we call initial status. If this is the case for you, so this means that you have never been in the US as an F1 student before. So if you're in initial status, please note that you can only enter the US 30 days before the I-20 program start date. So your I-20 program start date should be the first day of international orientation, and we'll get into orientation in a second. Now, this does not mean that you can come to campus 30 days before orientation, and we'll get into that later. So in addition to the I-20, you do also need to have a passport valid for at least 6 months beyond your period of stay in the US, unless your country is exempt by country-specific requirements. And there's a list of countries that are exempt from the 6-month duration requirements. When we send you the presentation, you can click on the link. You'll need, of course, that I-20 from Richmond. Unless you're from Canada or Bermuda, you will need that F1 visa stamp, unless you already have a valid F1 visa stamp from high school, because like I mentioned, you can still use it. We recommend that you carry proof of your student status, so that would be an admission letter, scholarship letter, payment of fees for the fall class schedule, something like that. You don't need to bring every single one of those documents I just mentioned. I think just one is sufficient. And as you're probably aware, there are no COVID-19 testing or vaccination requirements to enter the US. Okay. So travel to campus. Hopefully you have set up or will be setting up soon your Richmond email address. please do that as soon as you can. It's very important because even though it's still summer, classes for the fall haven't started yet, you'll still be getting emails from us, from administrators about various requirements, important information for you to know before you come here in August. So arrival and move-in procedures will be sent to your Richmond email. We are currently updating all of our information for fall arrival and orientation. So if you go to our website, you'll see some things have been updated, some things have not. Graduation is on Sunday. We are still dealing with issues related to students who are graduating, so that's kind of been our priority right now. But in June, once we're past graduation, we will have the opportunity to update everything. So don't freak out if you see something that is not quite up to date. It's being updated. And so if you are attending international orientation, you'll be able to go on to our international education webpage for arrival information, provide you a link there. If you arrive in the US before your move-in date, and how will you know your move-in date? Because you've been checking your Richmond email for announcements and so forth from Housing and Residence Life. If you arrive in the US before your move-in date, you will need to make your own arrangements to stay off campus at your own expense. And we do have a number of hotels that provide discounts to U of R students and that are very close to campus and that have shuttles to campus. Of course, you won't know this now, but if for some reason your arrival to campus is delayed, so your flight gets canceled or rebooked for a later date or something like that, and you're going to miss all or part of your orientation program, please contact the orientation staff for that program. Just please let somebody know that you're not coming on time. In the unfortunate event that your arrival to campus is so delayed that you're actually going to miss classes, please let our office know and also your college dean so that we can inform your professors and look into what arrangements and accommodations we can make for the classes that you will be missing. Okay, programs and resources. So we have what's called an international student and scholar requirement. I know it's more forms, you know, it's never fun to have to fill out forms, but these are things that we really do need from you in order to collect, you know, things like emergency contact information, copies of your immigration documents that we are required by the US government to have on file, information about your flight and how and when you're getting here for the orientation in August. And so we have tasks and forms broken up into two different sections. Pre-arrival. So again, in June, once we've had a chance to get past graduation, we will be contacting you through your Richmond email, which is why you want to set it up and check it, about the mandatory international student and scholar requirement. So it's a portal. We'll give you instructions on how to log in and set it up. So for pre-arrival, we have an August 1st deadline for those forms. And then we have, after you arrive to campus, post-arrival. And we ask that you complete those additional forms by August 30th, which is Friday at the end of the first week of class. Those post-arrival forms include immigration information, and it's very important that you complete those tasks by that deadline of August 30th, because we need it to report and confirm your enrollment at Richmond. And if we're not able to do that, then you know, once we're past certain government deadlines, then you may jeopardize your student visa status. And of course, we don't want that to happen. So please take the international student and scholar requirements seriously. Okay, so campus orientations. So the international orientation will run from Sunday, August 18th through midday on Wednesday, August 21st. It's required only for new international students who have never been in the US on a student visa. So if some of you folks are on an F1 visa in high school, you are not required to attend international orientation. The other thing is students who are participating in Roadmap are excused from international orientation because these programs run at the same time. So if you're going to be in Roadmap and Endeavor, then you also do not need to attend international orientation, although we will have some sessions and social activities and things that are more oriented towards international students, and you will have time in your schedule to attend the international orientation specific sessions and activities. So what do we offer in international orientation? Information sessions on cultural and academic adjustment, US laws, student visas, health insurance, and community building events. You can visit the website referenced on this slide for a preliminary schedule in June. Although please realize that between June and August, there are some things that may change with the schedule. And then, of course, as a newly admitted student in the class of 2028, you will be required to attend New Spider orientation from Wednesday, August 21st through Sunday, August 25th. So you will be attending that with everybody in the class of 2028. Okay, next slide.
So this is some of the events and programming that our office has to offer. The first one we have is the International Education Newsletter. It's a bi-weekly newsletter that we send out to all international students with stories, articles, and events that are happening on and off campus in the city of Richmond. We host a welcome reception in the beginning of the academic year for new international students to have an opportunity to meet each other in our office as well. Throughout the academic year, we hold social gatherings and specifically IETs where we offer teas and yummy treats for you all to kind of gather and socialize with other international students as well. During the university campus breaks, the fall, winter, spring, and even the summer break, we offer social events throughout the breaks. Some examples are game days where we have giant Jenga, card games, checkers, and chess, and yummy treats for international students and other students on campus to kind of gather and get to know each other. During our Thanksgiving break, our office collaborates with a couple of other offices on campus to provide a shopping shuttle. Black Friday is a major shopping day that happens after Thanksgiving that has a lot of discounted prices on anything you can imagine, to electronics to clothing. So a lot of good deals are happening during Black Friday. So we provide a shopping shuttle to get students off campus to be able to participate in this day. Throughout the academic year, we also host monthly dinners in the dining hall that's hosted by other international students. Gives you an opportunity to kind of meet other international students that you might not have encountered already on campus. Our office also works really closely with International Club, which is a student organization on campus that's run by international students. A couple of events that they have that are highlighted are cultural fairs that happened that provide food and music from the international students' home country. And it's really well attended every time that it's being offered. And students really enjoy being able to kind of showcase their home country as well as participate and learn about other countries that they haven't traveled before. They also host meet and greets with international faculty that we have on campus that gives you an opportunity to meet faculty that might be outside of your major of study. We also work with the careers office on providing an international student alumni career panel. It gives you an opportunity to meet international students who have graduated and is now working in the US to kind of get hands-on experience and hear about hands-on experience about what other international students have done to look for a job, how they interacted with other and potential employers as well. And the next slide shows you how to stay involved on campus. As mentioned previously, we have the biweekly newsletter that comes from our office. You'll see on the slideshow that these are Instagram pages of our office, the International Education, the Student Organization International Club. We have the University of Richmond's Instagram page, as well as Center for Student Involvement, which is an office on campus that brings social events and manages student organizations on campus as well. Spider Board is run by the Center of Student Involvement, and they plan social events for the campus community for students to kind of be involved on campus. And then we also have Spider Bite, which is an email system that gets sent out every morning to all students, faculty, and staff to let students know about what events and programming that are going on throughout that week.
All right. And if you have questions over the summer, we do have an international inbox. So feel free to send us an email to international@richmond.edu. We do check that inbox daily, and we'll get back to you. Or if it's a matter that's handled by a colleague in another department, we'll send it on to our colleague in that department.
Wonderful. Krittika and Diana, there are a couple of questions in the chat. This first one asks, my I-20 checklist has been marked completed as of the 26th of April. When can I expect the I-20 from Richmond?
Okay, so our office actually does not issue these initial status I-20s. That would be international admissions. So I would contact international admissions about the timing of that.
Alrighty, and this next one, it says, thank you for all the information. What happens if I have an F1 visa that I used for an exchange program for a US high school? Considering this visa expired a year ago, what am I considered, and should I apply for a new F1 visa with a new I-20?
Right. So since your visa expired, yes, you will need to use the new I-20 from international admissions at Richmond to apply for a new F1 visa stamp at a US consulate or embassy outside the US. Okay. Yes, we have been getting questions about pickups, for example, at the airport. Are there any pickups organized on the move-in day? The answer is yes, but we have no details at this time because of what I kind of said before is, you know, still kind of wrapping up things from this past academic year before we can move on to the details such as picking people up from the airport in August. But yes, we will have some sort of arrangement for transportation from the airport to campus. Unfortunately, I just can't tell you what it is now because we haven't planned it yet. But again, just like everything else, please check back in June. Move-in day. Yes. If you are coming for International Orientation Day or International Orientation Program, the move-in day, yes, is August 18th. And August 18th is in fact the move-in date for all of the transition programs. Does the office help students with things like opening bank accounts? Our plan is to try to have either a representative from a bank on campus, or if that's not possible, and sometimes it's not possible because of staffing and things like that, we have information. We're going to make available an international student handbook with practical information, such as how to open bank accounts and recommendations for mobile service providers. Will this presentation be stored somewhere so that we can read out its information? Yes, I believe it's going to be available on a YouTube channel for new spiders. And we can also send it out to you individually. Okay, are there orientation programs for parents? So let's see, Jason, do you want do you want
Of
to
course.
answer this?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So there is some orientation programming for parents. This will primarily take place on that first day. So that'll be the 18th and maybe the 19th, depending on what the parents, families, and supporters would like to attend. But outside of that, that'll be the only programming. So you'll have the morning of the 19th, and then there'll be a period in time when we will release the schedule in June as well. But there'll be a period of time after you receive your parent, family, supporter orientation that then you're asked to separate from your students, and that'll be the beginning of their experience in undergrad. If you have any questions, I can submit my email in the chat, or I can list right here for you all to see, and I'll be happy to email you individually as well.
Any other questions?
Alrighty, so with no more questions, again, if you have any questions about the international student experience, you can email that is right on your slide right in front of you. For orientation questions, I just submitted my email into the chat. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall. Have a great day, everyone, or a great night, or a great evening, wherever you're joining us from.
Oh, actually, we do have some more questions.
Oh, actually, that is a joke. There are 2 more questions. Let's go ahead and answer those.
Will not doing the Endeavor program affect me as an international student? Do you want to take part of that, Jason?
Of course, yeah. So no, it will not affect you as an international student, at least not in the capacity of limiting you for anything or taking anything away. It's just an additional experience that you could elect to have if you wanted to do so, but there's no harm in not participating in it.
Okay. The I-20 in my portal shows the full price. I thought I only had to demonstrate the full price minus the financial aid. Okay, so I think this is another question for international admissions, about the financial information on your I-20. Okay, will our admitted student checklist at the Spider portal include additional international item requirements so that we don't miss out on anything? I assume this is maybe the new Spider portal is what is being referred to here.
Right. I wonder, I'm not entirely sure if it would include the international student requirements as far as like international checklist, but I believe that'll be done on an individualized basis. Like Krittika and Diana shared earlier on, you really want to set up your Richmond email because that's where you will get all of the information about what information is needed from you and when that information is due. So it may not be part of your new Spider checklist that you receive, but everything that you need to complete will be included in other email communication that you'll receive throughout the summer.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the international student and scholar requirement is its own portal. So that's different than the new Spider portal.
Right.
So there's a bunch of portals going around here. The Student Health Center also has their own portal. So that's why, we felt it is important to let you know about our portal so that it's different from others. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you have questions, you've got our email, so please feel free to communicate with us. And best of luck. Thanks for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on campus in August.
Thank you all.